Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Friday. Hope you all have had a wonderful weekend. I want to apologise for the lack of streams and videos over the last couple of days or so. I have been nursing a little bit of a cold. If you watched the first episode of the Ned Camp podcast over on Toffee TV yesterday, you'd have heard that throughout the podcast at numerous times. I had to cough and sneeze and all of that good stuff. It's nothing too serious. It's just a little bit of a cold. So I didn't really feel like sitting down and doing many live streams, and there's not really been an awful lot to talk about. But I sat down before and I thought, what could we stream about? Obviously, we've got the game preview to the Premier League, to our Everton's Premier League fixture against Brighton. That'll be coming up a little bit later on today. But I thought, what else can we talk about? What else can we sit down and chat about before we do the game preview to that Brighton game on Monday? And I was having a little look through social media. I was having a little look through our Twitter feed, and I thought, you know what? There's been a lot of transfer rumours recently. There's been a lot of players that Everton have been linked with that don't really stand out to me as having much truth in them. And then I thought back to a little series that we used to do, a few months back, or certainly throughout the transfer windows, last summer transfer window. We done it through January as well. And that is the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show. Now, if you've been around the channel for some time, you'll know the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show. It's basically the show where we sit down, we go through all of the latest Everton-related transfer rumours, and we basically rate them as to whether we believe they're true and there's some truth in them, or whether we believe they're absolute, complete and utter rubbish and there's nothing in them whatsoever. And it's usually a little bit of fun. We have a little bit of a laugh doing it. We talk about the latest rumours, even the ones that you sort of just turn your phone off once you've read them and think, no, there's nothing in that whatsoever. So I thought, you know what, we'll sit down and we'll do a little Talking Rubbish Transfer Show today. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved so far as well. Really do appreciate it. If you're enjoying it, please do leave a like. Before we get into it, don't forget to check out the Football News 365 app. Brilliant app. Keeps you up to date with all your latest Everton news, scores, predictions, Premier League table, all of that good stuff. You can find it through the link in the description. It's free to download on Android, iOS. It'll help out the channel massively as well. It also helps out the lads over at Football News 365, one of them whom is a massive Evertonian. So if you could do that, it would mean a great deal to me. Link is in the top line of the description. But we've got a lot of transfer rumours to get into today, and a couple that really did sort of pique me mind. A couple that I've got a bit of truth in them as well. One regarding Theo Walcott and a potential stay at Southampton for him. Obviously, he's on loan there this season, had a relatively decent season from all accounts, and is out of contract at Everton this summer. So there's a lot of solid transfer rumours stating that he will want to stay there on a permanent deal. But there's a lot of other rumours that you sort of do look at and you think, yeah, you know what, I don't think there's much in that whatsoever. Adam says, afternoon Cam lad, what's happening? LCFC boy, what's happening? Andy says, hey up, watching from work. And Strong says, rest in peace Prince Philip. Anyway, let's get straight into it then. We won't mess about, we won't beat around the bush any longer. You can see the title of the live stream, Everton interested in Paulo Dybala. Now I laughed as well when I read this one, to be honest with you. I'm sure a lot of you laughed, and you know, if you've seen these these videos and the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show before, it's basically where we sit down and we read the rumours, and if they are a load of crap, we have a little bit of a laugh about them. So anyway, let's get straight into this one. This is coming from Court Offside. There was a couple of rumours regarding Dybala being linked with Everton. There was one a few days before as well. I can't remember who it was from, but they stated that Everton are interested in Paulo Dybala as well. And this all stems from the news that's going around, or the rumours that are going around surrounding the Italian League and the Serie A. Obviously, Paulo Dybala playing for Juventus in the Serie A, and there's a lot of talk at the moment about the Serie A being a little bit low on sort of cash, if you like, and in a little bit of a financial situation. I don't want to call it a crisis because I don't know enough about it to call it a crisis, but in a little bit of a financial trouble, if you like. And there was a rumour that we spoke about on a live stream a few weeks back regarding Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan and Kalidou Koulibaly of Napoli, and we spoke about those two players, and the rumours regarding those two were because the rumour in itself said that Everton are going to look to the Serie A to exploit it, because you're going to be able to get some top players at not so much top prices because of the financial trouble going on in the league. This one comes from Court Offside, and it states that Everton are interested in Juventus forward Paulo Dybala. Due to issues over a new contract, the Argentinian is likely to leave Juventus despite them wanting to extend his deal. And then the big sort of, it's like that Simpsons meme. I don't know if you've seen the Simpsons meme where all the kids are sitting around in the classroom and they're looking back and they're like smiling, and then somebody says something and then they're all cheering. This is what we were all waiting for, the next sentence, and that is Dybala, however, is expected to turn down any formal offers from Everton. nothing surprising there then. I haven't got the buttons today. Usually we put the buttons up to say complete rubbish or, make it happen or possibly. I haven't got the buttons today, but I'm going to lash this one straight in, complete rubbish. I don't think this is true whatsoever. In terms of the transfer rumours suggesting that Everton might dip into the Serie A in the Italian league in terms of trying to improve the squad and bringing in some better quality of players, potentially, look, if the Italian league is in a little bit of financial trouble this summer, then I can see a lot of Premier League clubs going over there and trying to sort of exploit that. Obviously, we've seen Everton working in the Italian transfer market last summer, bringing in Alan from from Napoli, of course, who had that connection with Carlo Ancelotti. We've been rumoured with a lot of players from the Italian league as well over the last sort of 12 months or so, especially since Carlo Ancelotti obviously has come in with his links to the Italian league, being an Italian manager. We've been linked constantly with the likes of Sami Khedira from Juventus. We've been linked with Adrian Rabiot as well a number of times. We've been linked with a lot of players from the Italian league and from that league, and obviously with the news now surrounding that, there might be a little bit of financial trouble there. We're probably going to get linked with a lot more players now, whereas before we were being linked with players like the likes of Sami Khedira and Adrian Rabiot, who you sort of sat back and went, yeah, you know what, I could see that being possible. I could see Everton going in for the likes of a Sami Khedira. He's a trusted, veteran midfielder, worked under Carlo Ancelotti before, and I could see that being a possibility. Now we're sort of seeing rumours surrounding players that I don't really see as possibilities whatsoever. For example, Lautaro Martinez, who we spoke about last week and basically said there's not a chance that's happening. And Paulo Dybala today, who I feel like is in the very same category as Martinez, to be honest with you. Sorry about that. So yeah, this one coming from Court Offside. Like I said, there was a couple of rumours before this one regarding Dybala and a potential move to Everton, but they all sort of went around a similar sort of story in that he's probably likely to turn down any formal offers. Look, Paulo Dybala for me is in my opinion one of the best young strikers in world football. He hasn't been as good as he in the last couple of seasons as he had been previously, but this is a lad playing next to Cristiano Ronaldo week in, week out. This is a lad playing for a Juventus team who are very, very strong. I know they haven't been as strong this season as they usually are, but typically are very, very strong and are always up there winning the Italian league, always up there challenging in the the final rounds of the Champions League as well. Like I said, I know it's not been great this season for them, but typically they are in and around those top levels of competition, and Paulo Dybala is the forefront of that, scoring goals, creating goals. He's an absolutely excellent striker. Would I take him at Everton? Absolutely. If you're asking me now, Cam, would you have him? 100%, 100%. I'd pay for his flight over here. That's how much I'd want him, but probably wouldn't pay for his flight because he'd want first class, wouldn't he, with the nice beds and the Sky television on his plane and the Wi-Fi and all that, so probably wouldn't pay for his flight, but you know what I mean. But the reality of this situation is we're very unlikely to sign Paulo Dybala, and I think what we're going to get now, between now and the transfer and the start of the transfer market, or even the end of the summer transfer market, is we're going to see a lot more of these rumours. It's very, very clear that Everton need to improve our squad. It's very, very clear that Everton need to go out in the transfer market in the summer and bring in a better quality of player. If we're wanting to seriously put in a challenge for Champions League football over the next 2 or 3 years or so, then we need better quality of players in this squad, because it's simply not good enough. We spoke on Monday about the Palace result and the Palace performance and the fact that you simply can't have a game where you create that many chances and you have that many clear-cut chances. I think it was something like 5 or 6 big chances, which is what they're called, and not take any of them other than the James Rodriguez one, which was the hardest one to take. So, like I said, Everton do need to improve our squad, and Everton do need to go in and bring in a better quality of player. Certainly if we finish in the Europa League this season as well, because obviously you're going to need a massive squad going into next season. And I think what we're seeing here is maybe a little bit of information coming out of the Italian league is to state, right, okay, there's a little bit of financial trouble here. A lot of good players are going to want to be sold for, maybe not as big of a price as that you would have expected. And then you're linking Everton because of Carlo Ancelotti, because of the Alan links, because of, all of Everton's links to the Italian market, and you're sort of just throwing them in there and saying, right, let's create a transfer rumour that Everton are going to be after the best player in the Italian league for about £22 million. It's not realistic. And like I said, Paulo Dybala, in a very similar aspect to Lautaro Martinez, when we spoke about him a couple of weeks ago, they're going to want to be playing in teams that are playing in the Champions League. They're going to want to be playing consistent Champions League football year in, year out. They're not going to want to come to Everton and ultimately sacrifice that. I get that there's the Ancelotti pull and there's the working under Carlo Ancelotti, and I understand that. And, you know, obviously I wouldn't have said at this point last year, if we'd have done a Talking Rubbish transfer show, and we probably did do a Talking Rubbish transfer show, you know, a year ago in April last season, during the lockdown, and we probably spoke about the reality of James Rodriguez joining Everton, and I probably sat here and said the same thing. James Rodriguez ain't joining Everton. He'll go and play for the Champions League club, and look what happened. So I get there is that glimmer of hope of having Carlo Ancelotti and bringing in the likes of James Rodriguez, who we never thought would bring in. I understand that. But unfortunately for me, anyway, in my personal opinion, I don't think there's anything in this Paulo Dybala rumour whatsoever. I don't think he'll come to Everton. And I don't even particularly think Everton are interested in him, because he'd cost still a lot of money, and it's not really a position in which we need to be focusing on in the summer for me. Look, do we need a backup striker to Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Definitely. Certainly if we finish in the Europa League, and, you know, obviously depending on what happens with Josh King, are we going to need to bring somebody in that can help Dominic Calvert-Lewin effectively, and that can be that backup to him? Absolutely. Is it going to be a Paulo Dybala? No, because if he was to come into Everton, he'd be playing week in, week out, and it'd be Dominic Calvert-Lewin being the backup, and I don't think that's the way in which Everton want to take it. I think it's more likely that we bring in a backup for Dom, rather than Dom being the backup for somebody else. And I know there's been a lot of talk over the last week, certainly after the Palace game, about needing a world-class striker and a top-level striker, etc. But I don't think Everton will prioritise that, and I don't particularly think Everton do either, to be honest. I really like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I've got every faith that Dominic Calvert-Lewin will become, you know, one of the best strikers in European football. Has he got a lot to do? Has he got a lot to work on? Absolutely. But he's also improved drastically since he's joined the football club as well. So I've got every faith that he'll further improve, to be honest with you, and he'll become that player that we all want him to. And ultimately, look, like I said, I think this is the classic example of a transfer rumour that somebody's gone, right, Everton might be interested in the Italian league this summer because of Carlo Ancelotti, and whereas the realistic, you know, signings are maybe the likes of a Sami Khedira or a Adrian Rabiot, or even a Kalidou Koulibaly, because of his links with Carlo, and then the media have just gone, let's just lash the best player in the Italian league, or one of the best players in the Italian league, and link him with Everton just to create some news, and to be honest, I don't really believe this whatsoever. So I'm going to lash this one straight in the rubbish category. I don't think Everton are after Paulo Dybala whatsoever. I don't think Paulo Dybala wants to come to Everton, and I think this was one that was maybe just put out there to stir the news a little bit and to make everybody a little bit excited, because, you know, let's be honest, it's been dry for the last couple of weeks. So let's get back into the live comments before we move on to it then. Anne says Dybala has been linked to some top clubs, would be great if you can, but I don't think it's unlikely. I don't think it is either, to be honest with you. I don't think we'll sign him, to be honest. I think it's again, it really, really does scream just a made-up transfer rumour for the sake of just making up a transfer rumour, to be honest with you. And like I said, Paulo Dybala is a top quality striker. He could go and play in most Champions League challenging teams. And to be honest, he'd probably get in any Premier League team as well. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, he'd probably even get in that Manchester City team. And maybe Paulo Dybala will be a player that Manchester City are looking at to replace Sergio Aguero in the summer. I don't know. I don't know, but there's a potential that could be the case. So, again, look, with Carlo Ancelotti, these type of transfer rumours, whereas, 18, 20 months ago, 2 years ago, whatever, these type of transfer rumours wouldn't even be worth talking about, because we'd be sitting here going, yeah, nonsense, they're never going to happen, and as if Paulo Dybala would want to come and play under Marco Silva, and that's no disrespect to Marco Silva, but or as if Paulo Dybala would want to come and play under, Sam Allardyce, etc. Now, I still don't believe them, and I still think they're a load of crap, but you're also still looking at it thinking, well, we have got Carlo Ancelotti, to be fair, and we all sat here 12 months ago and said, as if James Rodriguez has want to come and play for this Everton team who can't even string 2 wins together, as if James Rodriguez wants to come and play for an Everton team who've just finished 12th in the Premier League. Well, he did, didn't he? So, again, it is the Ancelotti effect, and having Carlo Ancelotti is, it sort of does make you think, well, there's a potential, there's a possibility, and there is a possibility. Look, Paulo Dybala might want to come and play in the Premier League. He might say, I want to go and play for Ancelotti, I want to play for a team that are challenging in and around those European positions, rather than a team that are constantly in there. I'd rather be guaranteed first team football and play, and have the project. I just don't see it, to be honest. I really, really don't see it. But It's one that sparked a lot of people's interest. It's one that, again, was put out there. It was by Court Offside, by the way, who I think are a magazine, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure, but I think in a magazine. But there was another couple of transfer rumours linking Dybala to Everton a couple of weeks ago. I just can't remember who they were from. But yeah, I don't particularly believe that them ones. I really, really don't. If you're enjoying the team, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. Only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. If you could share the live stream, that would mean a great, great deal to me. Try and get as many people involved as we possibly can. The next transfer rumour is coming from Gazzetta dello Sport, and it's through Sport Witness. Gazzetta dello Sport, I believe, are an Italian publication. A publication that are constantly linking Everton with various levels of players throughout most of the last 3 or 4 transfer windows, to be honest with you. Most of these Talking Rubbish transfer shows, the rumours that have come from them have been from the likes of Gazzetta dello Sport. That's not me saying that, they get everything wrong. I think they reported on the James Rodriguez stuff before that happened as well. But they have said that Everton are said to be interested in Bologna and Japan defender Takehiro Tomiyasu. The 22-year-old can play centre-back and right-back. Bayer Leverkusen are said to be interested, and €20 million is supposedly Bologna's asking price, and that's according to Gazzetta dello Sport. I don't know much about this player, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Judging by the rumour, he's obviously 22 years old and a versatile defender. Obviously, the part of that rumour that states he can play at right back is potentially where it's come from. Everton, of course, not hiding in the fact that we're interested in a right back this summer. Obviously Seamus Coleman, for as good as he is and for as brilliant as he's been for Everton this season and for the last decade or so, he hasn't got that capability to play 38 games in a season. He's not going to have that consistency whatsoever. Again, coming obviously from the Italian market, Bologna, I can't say that name, Bologna in the Italian league. And again, sort of following the same trend as that, teams in the Italian league are potentially looking to sell some of their top level players for much cheaper than what they usually go for. Again, I can't admit to knowing a lot about this player. I haven't really seen him play, to be honest with you. Leverkusen, interested for €20 million, which says that, obviously they've had a little bit of a keen eye on him. And look, again, I sat here in the summer when we signed Ben Godfrey and said I can't claim to know a lot about Ben Godfrey either. I knew he played in the Premier League. I knew he had a couple of decent games for Norwich, but I didn't know an awful lot about him. And to be honest, when we spent 20 million on him, I sort of thought 20 million on a lad who's just been relegated. I don't know if that's the best business, and he's worth 4 or 5 times that now. I think we owe Norwich money, to be perfectly honest with you, for Ben Godfrey. So again, maybe this one is a little bit, sort of like that, a versatile defender, somebody that can play at centre-back and right-back, which is, I think, versatility is something that Carlo Ancelotti is going to be after in this summer transfer window, to be honest with you. We've seen just how important Ben Godfrey has been to this Everton team this season because of his versatility. He's played left-back for a month or two when Luca Dean was out, which was a very important period for Everton. He's played centre-half, which is his natural position. He's played at right-back on a couple of times as well, and he's had to fill in. So we've noticed firsthand just how important having a player who is versatile is to this Everton team. And Carlo Ancelotti is he's made it no secret, certainly when he first come into Everton, that he wanted to really, really narrow this squad down, and he didn't want a squad of 40 players. In fact, he wanted a squad of only 23 players. And if you're going to have a squad of only 23 players, certainly if you're wanting to be challenging in the Champions League or challenging for the Champions League or for the Europa League, those 23 players need to be versatile. Those players need to be able to play in multiple different positions. I've said this, loads of times. I've spoke about this openly on the channel a number of times. You can't just have a player where you can afford to have a couple of players like this, but you can't have a squad of players who can only play in one position. You can't have a squad of players who, you've got, I don't know, a centre-back, who can only play centre-back, or a right-back who can only play right, or a striker who can only play up front, or a number 10 who can only play in the number 10. Yeah, it's good to have a couple of those players, i.e., a Dominic Calvert-Lewin maybe, or I don't know, a Yerry Mina, who obviously will only be playing centre-back, but you need to have players within a squad, especially if you only want a squad of a size of 22, 23 players. You need to have players in that squad that can play on multiple different positions, that, if they're forwards, they can play up front, they can play on the left, they can play on the right, they can play in the 10. If they're midfielders, they can play as a defender, they can play as a bit of a box-to-box, they can maybe play as a creative creator, and if they're a defender, i.e. a Ben Godfrey, they can play left back, right back, centre back. So I think versatility is a big word, and I think versatility is something that Carlo Ancelotti is going to be looking for this summer when when Everton are signing players. And Tomiyasu looks like a lad who can play in multiple different positions. Quite highly rated by some of the things that I've read up on the internet as well. Looks a highly rated good young centre half as well. 22 years old. The level, the age at which probably Everton should be looking at. As good as it is to sign James Rodriguez and Alan, they're two players who are in their late 20s, early 30s, and within the next couple of years or so probably will be coming towards the back end of their careers. And again, they're great to have, and I'm not saying they've been bad signings whatsoever, but for the future of Everton and for the project, if you like, Everton are going to need to be looking at players that are more of the age of a Ben Godfrey, 22, 23 years old, and have got a lot of years ahead of them. So that whilst we're building this team and we're building this squad and we're building this project, if you like, these are the players that are going to be in there for the next 5, 6, 7 years, because James isn't going to be here in 6 or 7 years. He might even be retired. Alan's not going to be here in 6 or 7 years. We'd like to think Ben Godfrey will still be here in 6 or 7 years. If we sign Tomiyasu, we'd like to think he'll be here in 6 or 7 years. So I can see there being some truth in this one, to be honest with you. Like I said, I don't know an awful lot about the player himself. We'll hopefully get Tom on the channel, T-Logic 1991, within the next few weeks or so, when he can talk about some of these players that we've been linked with. But I'd like to think there's some truth in this, so I'll probably put this in the probably category. I don't want to say make it happen, because I don't know an awful lot about him. And look, he's a 22-year-old lad who supposedly can play at centre-back and right-back. Doesn't mean he's any good, does it? I'm 22 years old. I could probably play at centre-back and right-back if Everton want to sign me. I'm useless, though. I'm absolutely crap at footy, but I could have a go there. So, again, I'm not going to go straight into make it happen, because I haven't seen enough of the player and I don't know enough about him. But from what the rumour states, in terms of that he can play in multiple different positions, and that, again, coming from the Italian league, maybe this is just another transfer rumour where the media have, lazy journalism. I know Ant mentioned lazy journalism in the comments before, which we'll talk about in a second. But maybe this is just another case of that, where the media have sort of gone, right, he's a young up-and-coming lad in the Italian league. Everton are looking to exploit the Italian league. Everton are wanting to improve this squad. We'll link them with him. And realistically, there's nothing much in it whatsoever. But again, I could see this one having a little bit of truth in it because of his versatility, because he's young, and because obviously he seems to be highly rated as well. So we're going to put the rumour linking Everton with Bologna and Japan defender Takehiro Tomiyasu in the probably category, which is basically, it may happen, it might not happen, we'll have to wait and see. But that rumour is coming from Gazzetta dello Sport via Sport Witness, and it is that Everton are said to be interested in Bologna and Japan defender Takehiro Tomiyasu. The 22-year-old can play centre-back and right-back. Bayern Leverkusen are said to be interested, and €20 million is supposedly the asking price. So again, keep your eye out on that one. Very, very interesting. The next rumour is linking Everton with a French forward, which we'll talk about in a second. Let's get into the live comments before we do that, though. If you're enjoying the scene, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Share the live stream, share the video, try and get as many people involved. Bradley says, nah. I think that's about the Dybala rumours. Again, I don't think it'll happen, to be honest with you. I don't think it'll happen. Philip says, hi all. Hi Phil, hope you're doing well. Lenny says the Dybala rumours are rubbish, would defo have him though. Yeah, that's exactly how I'm feeling, mate. I think they're a load of crap, but I'd absolutely love him at Everton. LCFC Boyer Ann says, we have been linked to a few players from Italy, so maybe there is something that they're struggling with money. Yeah, there's definitely been some solid rumours that, the Italian league are in a little bit of financial trouble at the moment, and there have been a lot of top-level players from the Italian league linked with moves away to various different European clubs, and for, prices that are not as big as you would think for the level of player. So, again, I do believe that there may be a little bit of financial trouble in the Italian league. Whether that means Everton are going to go and sign Paulo Dybala is like, it's a different question, isn't it, really? It's like saying, right, the ads that have got sales on, the ads that have got sales on cheese, and then saying, well, I'm going to go in and buy all the cheese, every single piece of cheese in the shop. just because the Asda have got sales on, or the Tesco, or the Sainsbury's, other supermarkets are available, just because the supermarkets have got sales on cheese, doesn't mean that you're going to go in and buy every single piece of cheese, does it? You might go in and you might get a couple of bits for a little bit cheaper than you would have thought, but it doesn't mean you're going to go in and get the best cheese in the world, and along with every other bit of cheese, just because they've got sales on. Bit of a weird analogy that, but I know you know where I'm coming from. Austin puts a load of cigarettes. I don't smoke, mate. I don't smoke. It is purely just a little bit of a cold, which hopefully I'll get rid of within the next couple of days or so. Adam says, I feel like Max Adams is the only player we're linked with at the moment that has a bit of substance to it. Seems like we're linked with every player going. Yeah, I'd agree, to be honest, mate. I'd agree. The only real sort of transfer rumour at the moment regarding Everton is, I'd really pay attention to is the Max Adams stuff. It's coming from Fabrizio Romano, who is a really reliable journalist, you know, and says a lot of things that are true. Fabrizio Romano was broke the Josh King news before anybody else when Jay Burt, I think it was Jay Burt, it might have been somebody else, come out and said that Josh King was going to sign for Fulham. Fabrizio Romano come straight out and said no, he's not. He's on his way to Everton. I don't know why that's being said, and funnily enough, he signed for Everton. So whenever any Everton fan asks, you know, Fabrizio Romano for updates, he just basically says keep an eye on Max Adams, keep an eye on Max Adams. So the Max Adams stuff, I do believe there hasn't been any more updates on the Max Adams situation over the last few days or so. But all of the other rumours that I just think are a little bit, you know, maybe a little bit sort of made up, if you like. But we never know. There might be some truth in them. Philip says, unfortunately, we almost need an entire team if we're to be serious about Champions League. Yeah. Niall says the Armstrong from Blackburn. That Armstrong from Blackburn is a good player who've been linked with. I haven't seen those links, mate. You'll have to send me them on Twitter. I haven't seen them. And Anthony says, it's lazy journalism, just like Leicester getting linked to every former Brendan Rodgers player. Yeah, it's easy to do, mate. Like you said, it's easy to put together, and people will read it and people will click it, and ultimately that's what you know, again, like you said, lazy journalism. Lenny says, this one seems like bullshit to me. Never heard of him, to be honest. Niall says, who's that right back? RB Salzburg striker we've been linked with. I think his name's Daka, meant to be a good player. Lenny says, I think Max Adams will be an Everton player next season. It just seems right considering his best mates with Godfrey, and Fabrizio's already confirmed that there's strong interest in him. I'd love him to be an Everton player, and to be honest, I would like to think he will be an Everton player, but we'll have to wait and see. Philip says, Everton should be having a good look at the youth setup. Obviously, something is very broken there as a top club. We should be producing loads of good young lads. Yeah, well, that's definitely a topic for another live stream, isn't it? I want to talk about the youth setup in the academy, Everton's academy, and we will sit down and talk about that on another live stream very soon. Then he says Daka is scoring goals for fun in Austria with Salzburg, 23 goals in 90 games. We're also being linked with Daryl Dyke, who I think is on loan from Orlando, and he's currently at Barnsley, I think it is. Might be wrong with that one. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Looks like a really top level, good young striker, big physical player as well. There's been a couple of links with him with Everton, but again, they're just sort of links at the moment that Everton could potentially be interested in bringing him in. Philip says also big rumours about Belotti. He's a fantastic player. Imagine getting him. He's somebody we're going to talk about in a moment. He is on the list to talk about. Keeper Boy says apparently Dybala has already declined his contract. In my opinion, Collar was getting one or two youngsters, then the rest will be experienced and proven players. We'll have to wait and see. Niall says I'd have that Belotti. Philip says Carlo seems to be obsessed with football and pensioners. Keeper Boy says, do you think we need Adrian Rabiot? Niall says I wouldn't have him. I don't think we need him. Niall says, and Lenny says, yeah, Barnsley. Yeah, he's out on loan at Barnsley, Daryl Dyke. I don't think we need him. Or DK, I think it's pronounced actually. Daryl DK. I think I've just completely butchered that pronunciation. In terms of Rabiot, I don't think we need him. Could I see Everton signing him? He's got the links with Ancelotti, and there's a lot of rumours regarding him. But again, I'm not entirely sure that we need him. Anyway, let's get into the next transfer rumour. And if you're enjoying the live stream, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. If you could leave the stream a like, if you could share it, if you could leave a comment if you're watching this YouTube video, that would mean a great deal as always. Anyway, let's get into the next one. This is coming from L'Equipe, who are a French publication via Sport Witness. Again, Sport Witness just basically find all of these different rumours and lash them up on their website, and then, obviously quote where they're coming from. So this one is coming from L'Equipe, and it says that Everton are apparently interested in Marseille striker Valery Germain and have approached the French forward about a potential move this summer. Germain's contract expires this summer, so would be a free agent, and it is believed that he is out of favour at Marseille. Done a little bit of reading up on that. I can't say I watched the French league, to be honest with you. I can't say I've watched Marseille a lot of times this season, but I do know that this lad's got about 2 or 3 goals in about 28 appearances for Marseille this season, and definitely isn't the answer to Everton's lack of goal scoring, or goal scoring issue, if you like, or lack of goal scorers within the squad. Again, it seems like it's a rumour that stemmed from a lad that's out of contract in the summer, probably his agent trying to push for a move elsewhere in Europe because he wants him to get a top-level move, probably his agent wanting for him to push to a move to the Premier League. I don't believe this any bit, to be honest with you. I really don't believe it. I mean, why would Everton be looking at a lad who scored, 2 or 3 goals in 20-odd appearances for Marseille when we're already struggling for goal scoring back up to Dominic Calvert-Lewin? If Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison aren't scoring, again, we had this issue, 2 years ago, and obviously last summer we brought in James, and we sort of hoped that James would have scored, maybe 10 goals, and James has done really well this season for the games that he's played and for the amount of time that he's been injured. His goal scoring record and his assistant record is magnificent. His goal involvements are brilliant, but we all sort of hoped that maybe Decore would bring us 5 or 10 goals in a season, James would bring us 10 or 15, Alan might bring us a couple, and it hasn't really worked out, so we're still sort of sitting here as a football club with that issue of we haven't got enough goal scorers in this team. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison aren't scoring, as blatantly evident against Crystal Palace last Monday, then we're not really scoring much at all. And like I said, we seen that. Okay, James scored and it was a fantastic finish against Crystal Palace, but ultimately we didn't win the game because of how reliant we were on Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and when both of them are missing their chances, we don't win games of football because we don't have any other goal scorers yet. James, again, like I said, for the games in which he's played, he's got quite a good record and he's been brilliant this season. I'm not criticising him, but other than James and Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who scores for Everton? I think Yerry Mina might be our top goal scorer other than those 3 players, with maybe 3 or 4 goals. Michael Keane's up there as well. They're your 2 centre-half. You've still got the issue of Alan doesn't score enough, and I'm not saying that it's his job, but it would still be nice for him to chip in with a few goals. Decore doesn't score enough. Your wingers, Josh King being here since January, not scored. And again, okay, he hasn't started at all, and I get that, but, not scored. Bernard, other than the cup game against Tottenham, don't think he scored in the Premier League this season. Who else have we got that comes on? Alex Iwobi, maybe 1 or 2 goals this season. We don't have enough goal scorers in this team, so why we'd be looking at a player who scored 2 or 3 goals in 28 appearances and probably a very similar goal scoring record to your likes of an Iwobi or or a Bernard. It just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. L'Equipe, like I said again, have linked Everton with a number of players over the last 12-18 months or so. Some of them have come to the forefront, some of them have been absolutely dreadfully nonsense, and I'm going to put this one straight in the complete rubbish category, to be honest with you, because I just don't see why Everton would bring in a player who's probably going to want upwards of £60,000-70,000 a week. Again, not at the best age as well in his career, and certainly hasn't got a goal scoring record that Everton will be looking at and thinking, right, that's desirable. I just think it'd be a signing that we're all sort of sitting there. Don't get me wrong, if he signed, we support him, but I think it'd be a signing where we're all sort of sitting there scratching our heads thinking, why did we make that signing? What's gone on there? What's the point? Don't get me wrong, I think he could be a decent player, but he's certainly not the goal scorer that we need. And again, this one seems like, right, Everton are interested in backup for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Everton want to bring another striker in. Let's link them with an contract striker who's playing in one of the top leagues in Europe. And his agent's probably wanting for him to get a move potentially to the Premier League to go and widen his horizon, if you like. But yeah, I don't believe this one whatsoever. So I'm putting this one in complete rubbish. That is the rumour from L'Equipe that states that Everton are interested in Marseille striker Valery Germain and have approached the French forward about a potential move this summer, and his contract expires this summer and he's out of favour at Marseille currently. There's a reason he's out of favour at Marseille. And that's probably because he's not very good. And like I said, Everton need to be bringing in players that, we can guarantee are going to get us 5-10 goals this season. Certainly strikers. I don't want to be bringing in a striker to challenge Dominic Calvert-Lewin that isn't good enough to challenge Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's a similar situation as to the Pickford situation that we had, for every season prior to this season, bringing in goalkeepers like Jonas Lersel, who isn't good enough to challenge Jordan Pickford, so what's the point? This season we brought in Robin Olsen, who is good enough to challenge Jordan Pickford, and we've seen that, and Jordan consequently has upped his game. Bringing in somebody like a Jermaine to challenge Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't going to up Dominic Calvert-Lewin's game. He's not going to look at him and think, I'm in serious danger of losing my place here if I don't improve, because he's going to come in. He's going to look at him and think, he scored 3 goals in 25, 28 appearances, whatever it was last season. I've got no competition here. I want to bring in a good striker who Dominic Calvert-Lewin can look over his shoulder and think, I need to really, really improve myself here, otherwise he's going to come in and I'm going to be out this team. And I don't think that, Valerie Jermaine is that player. So I'm going to put that one in complete rubbish straight away. Let us know your thoughts on that one. Couple of more rumours before we finish up. I am aware that Carlo's press conference is in 5 minutes, so we'll try and finish up within that 5-minute mark so everybody can go and have a little listen to what Carlo has to say, and then we'll be doing the game preview straight after that one. Keeper Boy says, Italy have been hit hard by COVID, so they've got to accept cheaper prices for talented players. There you go. Now says, nice bit of cheese. Sombrero says, you think Dybala is a pensioner? Lol. No, I don't think Dybala is a pensioner. I think Dybala's had a very, very good age and a really, really good player. I think that's in related to Philip's comment. I don't think Everton are interested in Dybala. Maybe we're interested in him, but I don't think he'll come. Keeper Boy says, press conference in 15 minutes. Who do you think will be out and he'll be fit? I don't know, mate, to be honest with you. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for what Carlo has to say. Philip says, just been looking at the Spanish league. They are apparently on the verge of collapse. Barca almost 2 million in debt. Real over 1 million in debt, and the list goes on and on. There you go. Keeper Boy says, who's been our player of the season so far, in your opinion? Probably Ben Godfrey, to be honest with you. That's another topic for the live stream that we'll definitely get into over the next couple of days or so. Lenny and Naz says, yeah, Barnsley cheers. Keeper Boy says, what did your tattoo say, Cam? I've got loads. I've got Nil Satis and Izzy Optimum on my chest. That one is a quote. It says, you cannot discover new oceans unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. I've got a tiger one there. I've got all sorts, mate. Callum says, I swear we're all interested in Dybala. Yeah, probably, mate. Connor says, who do you think we should go for in the summer? It's a difficult one. I think Max Aarons would be a great player. I think there's a couple of positions that we need to focus on over specific players. But yeah, it's going to be a big summer for Ancelotti and Marcel Brands, that's for sure. Anyway, let's get into the last couple of rumours before we finish up the live stream. This one's coming from The Athletic, so quite feasible, very, very feasible, because they're a very, very reliable source, and that is that Southampton are hoping to finalise a deal for Theo Walcott to sign with the club on a permanent basis. Walcott's ex-Everton contract expires this summer, so can go on a free. Again, I think Philip says billion, not million, or billion in debt. There you go, billion in debt for Barcelona and Real. Again, I believe this one completely, and I think it's a make it happen. I like Theo Walcott. I think he seems like a top bloke. I think he's been a brilliant player throughout his career. Has he had a brilliant career at Everton? Not particularly. He's had a decent career. He scored some good goals. Scored that goal against Manchester United in the 4-0 win a couple of seasons ago. Scored the goal away at Watford last season, which was one of the highlights of last season, coming back from 2-0 down to win there with only minutes to go. So, look, I think ultimately Theo is a top professional. Is he good enough to be a part of this Everton team and squad going forward? Not if we've got aspirations of playing in the Champions League. He isn't, no. Obviously he's at an age now where he's not really going to get any better, and he seems to have had a decent season at Southampton, and they seem to be interested in him. He's on a free in the summer as well, so it doesn't make much difference unless Everton want to offer him a new contract. And ultimately, like I said, it'd be probably 100, 110, maybe £120,000 off the wage bill, which will be massive in terms of recruiting other players in the summer and bringing in reinforcements. To get rid of that amount of money and to get rid of that big wage off the wage bill is going to be vital for Everton, absolutely vital in the summer. So again, obviously Theo's been a great player in his career, had a relatively decent career at Everton. We wish him the best of luck, but I think that one is probably the most true of any rumours that we've read recently, is that Theo Walcott will be leaving Everton in the summer. And yeah, likely to be joining Southampton on a permanent because they seem to be interested in him. Anyway, let's move straight on to the last rumour then. This is coming from Corriere Granata, who have said that Everton are interested in Torino and Italy striker Andrea Belotti. Chelsea, West Ham and Tottenham are also said to be interested. Torino do not wish to sell Belotti this summer, but are concerned they won't be able to convince him to stay. Again, very, very, very interesting one. Belotti, a player who we've been linked with a couple of times over the last couple of years or so. Again, coming from Torino in the Italian League. We spoke before about the issues that the Italian League may have financially this summer in terms of keeping hold of some of the biggest players. A lot of Premier League teams said to be interested there, like Chelsea, Tottenham, West Ham. I think he's a good player. I think he's a very, very, very good player, to be honest with you. I'd like to see him at Everton. Do I think he'll come to Everton? I don't know if Everton will particularly be interested in him, to be honest. Like I said, he plays in a position that I just think Everton won't be prioritising this summer. I really don't. EFC Graphics says we're interested in Belotti every year. Yeah, it does seem like we're constantly being linked with him. Like I said, he's a striker, and I don't particularly think Carlo Ancelotti and Marcel Brands' interests will be at striker this season. Don't get me wrong, this summer, sorry, don't get me wrong, I think we could do with signing a backup to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, somebody that could come in and ultimately offer some support and offer that competition that Dom needs, but I'm not sure that'll be Belotti, to be honest, because I think he'd probably want first team football. He'd be wanting to play week in, week out. He'd be wanting to turf Dom of his position. So I'm going to put that one in. Maybe, probably. I don't know. We have been linked with him an awful lot, so I don't want to lash it in complete rubbish. It might be complete rubbish. I'm definitely not lashing it in and make it happen because I'm not 100% believing on it. But again, he's a player that we are constantly linked with. He's a very, very good player. But I'm not convinced that Everton will be interested in him. I think it's, again, a little bit of lazy journalism, maybe, where it's an easy link to make between Belotti and Everton. So there you go. Look, that's going to do it for all the transfer rumours. Let me know your thoughts on them all in the comment section down below. Big thanks to everybody for watching. Really do appreciate it. Lenny says, Liquib, a very unreliable. They said a few years back that we're signing Malcolm, but he ends up going to Barca. We were linked heavily with Malcolm, I remember that. EFC Graphics says, the Dybala rumour still around. I thought he said he didn't want to join. Yeah, he did say he didn't want to join. That was part of the rumour, but I just thought we'd talk about it anyway. Gives us a bit of a laugh, doesn't it? Philip says, did anyone else see the Ajax ball boy hailing the ball at a Roma player as he wasted time? Absolutely hilarious clip on YouTube. Yeah, it's belter that. It's an absolute belter. EFC Graphics says, may as well stay until 3. Carlo going to be that late anyway. Yeah, he'd probably be out there in the next couple of minutes or so. Philip says Jordan has turned into a superb goalie since Olsen arrived. Believe we can do the same with Dom. There you go. I agree, mate. Philip says billion, not million. Cam. AFC Graphics says we sold Theo. We should have sold Theo in the summer so we didn't pay a percentage of his wage and he doesn't go on a free. Yeah, maybe we couldn't sell him. Maybe nobody was interested in him. There was only loans interested. Daniel says if we could get one player realistically at AC Milan at Everton, who would it be, Cam? I'd take Kessie from AC Milan, like the Corey with skill. Yeah, I'd love Kessie. I think he's a great player. I agree with you there. EFC Graphics has been interested in Belotti every year. Phillips is like the Beano annual. Dominic says we should try and get Giroud, Wilson or Milik. I'm not massively convinced on either, to be honest, mate. But fair enough. He also says Pereira from West Ham. I like Pereira. And AFC Graphics says we could do with Adam Armstrong, cheap, fast, and we'll challenge Dom. There you go. We'll do another video in the next couple of days or so, week or so, talking about potential signings and who we haven't been linked with, but we'd like to go out and sign, and maybe we'll get Tom on to discuss that. We did do a transfer video a couple of weeks back about players that we'd like to bring in. So yeah, there you go. That's going to do it for this live stream. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. We'll be back a little bit later on with the live game preview to Everton's Premier League fixture against Brighton. We're going to all go and join Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference now and see what Carlo has to say ahead of that game, injury news, all of that good stuff. If you've enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section and we'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can. Big thanks. Leave a like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.